Hi, this is Patrick with Trusty Huckster Mercantile with another What's Sold on Etsy video. Switching things up a little bit for this week because I was suddenly realizing that all of the videos I'd been posting pretty much were covering the exact same time period, which meant I needed to get two videos out, in some cases within hours of each other, which was just a little bit too much for my schedule, and you probably don't want to see that much of me at one time. So I'm going to mix this up and start doing the What's Sold videos because at least for this week I had 10 sales which ended on Friday. So I'm going to start doing the sales videos from Saturday to Friday and try and get those posted by Saturday, and then still do the haul videos on Sunday night because I do want to include the weekends in a haul video because typically that's when I'll do a lot of my sourcing. So let's go ahead and cover what's sold on Etsy for the week ending Friday, December 13th. It is currently very late on the 13th, actually, or late enough to technically be very early on the 14th. And one of the orders has not actually shipped out yet. So technically, I'm still going to count that as a what's sold, but it'll be going into the post office tomorrow. But let's see what we've got on the computer screen. So on the computer, we're going to be covering sales that were from Saturday, December 7th through Friday, December 13th. And technically, just Saturday, December 7th would have been covered in last week's video because I was doing a calendar week, but it doesn't matter because I didn't have any sales on Saturday the 7th. So what picked up was on Sunday the 8th, I had 4 sales that hit on that Sunday. The first was a little resin greyhound figurine. It was another piece that most likely was a result of the promotion with just one more Dachshund rescue because 10% of all purchase prices for any dog-related items are going to that JOMDR.org rescue organization. Technically, this is not a Dachshund. Obviously, it's greyhound. But a lot of people that support rescues in general aren't necessarily just Dachshund lovers. I've sold more Dachshunds, and there were some this week, but this happened to be a greyhound. So it sold for $15, including shipping. Most of the dog figurines I have are all lightweight enough they can go first class mail, and this one did just that. So I sold it for $15. Postage ended up being like $3 or $4. And probably some of the dog figurines, I think I mentioned this in last week's video, I paid up a little bit for because I wanted to stockpile, but I don't think I paid more than maybe $4 or $5 per figurine, and this probably fell in the $3 or $4 range. That I still made enough money that I'll make some profit, but more importantly, I can take 10% of that sale price and donate it to JOMDR, which is a really good cause. So I was happy to be able to do that. I also sold this Delphite milk glass egg plate. It was something I picked up relatively early on, had not paid a huge amount of money for it, and just really liked the looks of it. And in doing a little bit of digging, actually discovered they sold for reasonable prices. And so I posted it. It was one of the first things that I posted at $25, including free shipping. So it took a couple months to actually sell, but I did sell it for $25. And it did go priority mail because it was over a pound, but this one did not have to travel very far, so I did not have a real issue on postage and still making a very nice profit on that one. What I find interesting on this one, you can kind of see over here on the screen, the way you work your Etsy shop if you're not a reseller watching this, if you're just watching it because you're interested. On the Etsy shop, this is kind of what we can see on our side, and this little star indicates this item had been a featured item on my shop. You're allowed to take 4 items and feature them. I just like the looks of it. Not necessarily it was a big seller. It was just something I thought would catch some people's attention, but it only ever got 4 visits. So again, this is a case where I'm really watching my numbers. The Greyhound got 13 visits. This one only got 4, but it only takes 1 because in the 4 it got 1 favorite and it got a sale. So I'm still not sure what's the best thing to put on the featured page because that'll be the thing that people see when they get to your page. But most of the activity when people are seeing or clicking on my links, it's because they're seeing it on another site or another page that says, this is something similar, or they're seeing I'm paying for advertising, so they might pop up as advertising. So again, only 4 visits. Didn't get a lot of traction, but it only took the 1, and it sold for $25. The next item I sold was a piece of Lefton. I went heavy into Lefton when I first started out. Every time I could find a piece, I only bought the ones that had the Japan label, but every time I could find a Lefton Japan labeled piece, I picked it up because Jeffrey from Real Nifty Vintage always spoke highly of Lefton and really talked about the idea of it does have a little bit of a market, but it's not like it's a super highly collectible in and of itself. But if people like figurines or they like porcelain or they like this type of look, it is sometimes nice to have a name that people recognize. And so Lefton was very good at marketing themselves, that they always had their pieces marked. This one was marked with a foil label on the bottom, but this one was not marked with any other mark. So I'm still, even I've been doing it for a few months, I'm still trying to determine how all of these different markings work, because I have picked up a couple pieces that don't have the foil label, and now I'm beginning to think those might be a little bit more recent. So, trying to balance it out. But this one, just looking at it, you can tell this is a vintage piece. This was probably from the 50s, maybe 60s. This whole pink with the gold trim. The flowers on this were in ridiculously good condition. There were no chips, no cracks, no any marks whatsoever. They all still had their little rhinestones in them. So it was a really nice looking piece, and I was able to sell that for $15. It did not weigh much. I was able to sell it for ship it first class, so had less than $2 into it, so made a nice turn on that one. The next purchase was another one of those eye openers. This was a set of I tagged as body part mugs. It's not technically body parts. It was a collection of mugs that had been issued by Actos Pharmaceutical, and this one was muscle. There was HDL, there was a kidney, there was a triglyceride, there was a liver, stomach, pancreas. There were 7 of these. Unfortunately, several of them had some level of damage. So I did try and do the best job that I could to showcase the individual pieces in both the images and then also in the text to say, okay, this is what they all look like and where they had marks. And in some cases, like in the case of the kidney, the triglyceride, and the muscle, those were in perfect condition. But all of the other pieces out of the 7, 4 of them had damage. So I wanted to be respectful of that this wasn't going to sell for the price point that some of the others were selling for, because some of these sets were selling for more than $50, but those were all in perfect condition. So this one I had listed for $29, and that in hindsight was a mistake, because this ended up shipping to the West Coast. It weighed a lot. The box was large because I wanted to package these so that they didn't get damaged. And when all was said and done, I had it all packaged up and I did the math. I believe my shipping cost was going to be something like $25, and I sold it for $29. And I did buy these, so I had the cost of goods that I had to cover plus the fees of Etsy. So luckily I have a friend who actually specializes in logistics. I have tried not to abuse that relationship, but where it comes into some of the larger pieces, she's been helping me, and I was able to get this shipped out for, I think it ended up being $13. So I saved quite a bit of money and still made a decent profit. Not a great profit. I think I had $6 for the whole set of mugs. So still made a profit, but had I not had an in with being able to ship this against her company FedEx account, I would not have made any money whatsoever. So that was a lesson learned, that when something that's large and heavy is shipping, even though I'm located in Chicago, I feel like was a little more protected because I don't have the whole cross-country shipping to deal with. Shipping something this big to, I think this one might have gone to Washington or Washington State or California, it was a surprise. So I'm really trying to keep track of how those package sizes are impacting things. UPS announcements just came out that the new shipping rates are going up in January. So I really just need to get this under control, and I might need to go through and edit some of the heavier pieces or pieces that I know will be in larger boxes, just to protect myself for those cases they are shipping farther distances. But I don't want to lose my customers in Indiana. I don't want them paying a huge amount of money just to protect that possible loss. So it's a balancing act that I have yet to master. Next, another sale. Those were all happened to be on Sunday the 8th. That was a happening day. And then Monday I had nothing. So then I had another sale on the 10th, and that was a collector's plate. It was of a smaller plate of a parakeet. It's only 7 3/4 inches diameter. But it was in beautiful condition. And I picked this up at a thrift store. I believe it was in Iowa, and I want to say it was 25 cents or maybe 50 cents. And so I ended up selling that one for $20. It was heavier than it couldn't go first class, but I didn't have to ship it very far, and I was perfectly content with the profit that I made on that. The next one wasn't as good, but I was able to save a little bit of money too. So this was a Royal Worcester Millennium plate. So I picked this one up. It was one of those, okay, is this going to match the requirement for Etsy because it's literally a Millennium plate for 2000? Well, guess what? They actually made it before 2000 because you can see it was actually manufactured in 1998. So it totally matched the Etsy requirement. It's a beautiful plate. It was something when I saw it, I absolutely wanted to pick it up because it just had all this great artwork around it. It's a Millennium plate and it has that text on it, but it's still just a kind of a cool looking plate. It took a while to sell, but I didn't have that much money into it. That one I sold for a little bit more, 29 bucks, because it was 12 inches in diameter, so it was a little bit of a larger plate to have to ship. That one also ended up shipping a reasonable distance, but using Pirate Ship, I was able to get a attractive price for a cubic shipment, which is where they base it on the size of the box as opposed to how much it weighs. And I was able to squeeze something out for that. So that was I protected myself a little bit just by trying to master using the Pirate Ship software. So, and this was evidently the week of collector's plates because those two both came in as orders on Tuesday the 10th, and then nothing on Wednesday the 11th, but then suddenly sold another collector's plate on the 12th. And this was just a fun one that I really liked when I picked it up. It's a Norwegian Cruise Line ship plate that they had issued. It's marked Compliments of Norwegian Cruise Line. I don't know what kind of promotional piece this would have been. I initially would have thought it was something that was in the gift shop, but it says Compliments of Norwegian Cruise Line, so they must have given these away. So I'm not 100% sure where they were given, but it is a series. This one happened to be the Brig Anna Maria, but there were multiple versions of these. And nice size plate, and I was able to ship this one out. Had a decent price tag on this one too for 20 bucks. I was able to make some money, didn't have to go very far, and was happy with that one. The next order also came in on Thursday the 12th. This one actually was a dachshund, so this one I'm sure was also part of the JOMDR promotion. Just this cute little white dachshund. I'm not sure if at some point he might have been cold painted and just the paint wore off, although the black eyes are still there. So he may have been white all along. I'm not 100% sure. He is not marked at all on the bottom. It was in excellent condition. All these little applique flowers are in still perfect condition. And it looked like the fabric was a little bit faded, so I do think that the fabric might have been original. So it was a very nice vintage piece. Didn't have only had a couple bucks in this one, and was able to sell that for the same $15 that I was selling most of the other figurines for, less than a pound. So it went first class. So I was able to make a decent profit on there, and I'll be able to make the donation to JOMDR. The next one was one of those hindsight's 2020. I probably could have listed these for more. I have no problem with the margin and the markup that I got. I had $2 into these. I did these on a haul video, and when I came home and researched them and realized that they were particularly valuable, there had been a third one that I went back to try and pick up, but somebody else had already gotten that one. So I only had the two. So I had a grand total of $2 into it, and ended up selling these for $45 plus shipping. What is key about that is it had 3 visits and sold within 2 hours of me posting it. So this was clearly a case where somebody had a alert signed up on Etsy that when somebody posted these. There are only 2 other Syracuse, China Trend Atomic Jubilee, that's the pattern. I was never 100% clear where the trend, if it Trend Atomic Jubilee or if Trends was a subset, I'm not sure. But somehow they had an alert set up for that combination. There were only 2 other pieces on Etsy of that brand or of that pattern. So then when this one got posted, it got snapped up right away. And so even though they were decent weight, they're restaurant ware, 11-inch, 2 11-inch platters, I was able to get that into a again, using cubic. I think I was able to ship those out for $8. I believe they only went to Tennessee, so it didn't ship very far. So I really made a nice return on my $2 for a really attractive mid-century modern atomic design. So again, most likely I could have sold them for more. There were some comps that were showing that some of them had been selling at $30 per plate, but then there were others that were only 15. So, and this plate did not come up a lot. This is more the oval platter, and the dinner plates seemed to be the ones that were selling for the most money. So I was a little leery to go too high, because again, my philosophy is to just give these things a good home, and I want to make my money, but I don't want them sitting forever to get what they're worth. I want to be able to turn them. So I hope whoever got them is going to give them a good home and can add to their collection, or if they want to resell them and try and make more, they're more than welcome to do that. I cleared these things out of my inventory. Like I said, it sold within a couple of hours of my posting it, and I'm happy to pass them on. The last item came in on Friday the 13th. I came in late enough in the day. I'd already done the run to the post office for what that had come in for the Syracuse China order on Thursday. So this one has not actually shipped out yet, but this is another case. Really look at what you're picking up. If you're a reseller, really pay attention to those labels and really do your research. This was in a thrift store. I paid 50 cents for it. It doesn't necessarily look like much. It's an attractive piece, but it just looks like a piece of pottery with these blue pottery with these two little daisies on it. But you've turned it over, and you could see the imprinted mark for Weller. And Weller was a name that I was fully aware of, and you could also see some crazing in it, so you knew that it had some age. So just doing a little bit of digging, I discovered that this item actually had a following. It had some value. So this totally inexpensive piece that I picked up, I ended up selling for $39. It'll ship out. It'll probably be less than a pound. It might be over, but I'm not concerned, because again, selling it for $39 with under $1 into it, I am perfectly content with that turnaround, and probably had been passed over by many other pickers that didn't pay attention to, they didn't even pick it up. So it's sometimes train your eye, and things that look like they're high quality, if you can flip them over and see a mark, it supports your concept, and you can flip them. So again, what's worth it in all of these cases, the oldest pieces, I've only had a shop for a little over 2 months. December 6th was my 2-month mark. So nothing has sat in my inventory for more than 2 months. And some of these things, like the Trend Atomic Jubilee, were less than a couple of hours. So pay attention to trends, pay attention to your labeling, and very key with Etsy, you only get 13 keywords for people to find. Make sure you pay attention to your keywords and see what's getting the hits. And they'll get too frustrated. Again, three visits, but within 2 hours I had 3 visits and it sold. So watch your numbers. Anyway, so this is Patrick with Trusty Hexter Mercantile. Appreciate you sitting through through this video. I hope the shorter videos are a little bit more attractive for people to be able to watch. And at some point, I'll probably start catching up with my haul videos, and what I'm selling will have also been covered. So I may not do these all the time, but if there's something of interest or something I haven't covered yet, I might continue to pop in. So again, Patrick, Trusty Hexter Mercantile. Find us on Etsy, Facebook, Instagram, and obviously YouTube under Trusty Hexter Mercantile or TH Mercantile. And if you like this video, if you could comment, put a thumbs up on it, share it with your friends. Definitely want to see if I can build up my following, and listen to and make sure I'm providing what you're interested in. Thanks for joining me, and I will talk to you again soon. Goodbye.